step by step. Laura would like to lead us in a brief meditation as we start, and then what we would like to have, I don't have slides to present this time. Last month I discussed what was happening with student protests, kind of commemorating along with the 4th of May, remembering Kent State and other student protests which have happened and how this fits into the history of student protests. Today it'll be more freewheeling. We do have updates. We have different people with updates to give, and we would invite, this is an open mic time, and we would invite you to join us. Laura. Here's the mic.
Hello, 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 hello.
Mic.
Hello. I hope you can hear me. Hello. If you would like to sit with us. Hey, thank you for coming today. Very soon we will be doing check-in with each member to see how they're doing and how things are going. We're just going to start with a very nice meditation. Once again, this is considered a distinguished peaceful protest for the people of Palestine. We are not protesting violently. We are protesting distinguishedly and peacefully. We come together today for the people on the other side of the world who need us. Every first Sunday around this time, we come together. The people on the other side of the world need to hear that we care for them. They need to hear that there will be an end to this conflict someday. This will end. It will not go on forever. We come today together to pray for the men, women, and children who have passed during this conflict, for the struggles of the people who are still surviving this conflict. The least we can do is come together for 1 hour once a month to care and to show our care for these people. We could do much more, and we should, but we're starting today to show our care. I'm so amazed by the courageous people who have come today to show their solidarity in this cause. We come together in peace. We come together because we care. We come together to show that there is going to be a difference in what we do. We are so thankful for the courageous people who have come today to share what they know and the knowledge they have. Our church wants to be informed. We want to learn from you. We have open ears and open hearts to your cause. Once again, we believe in this church that there will be an end to this conflict. We believe that the other side has already lost. Israel has already lost in the eyes of the world. They have lost the support of the world community. This cannot go on. And we are here today to protest in a distinguished, peaceful, kind manner. I prefer to protest violently, but that is not the way of the UU Church. With this, they say don't protest with bullets, protest with ballots. Protest through voting, not through fighting. We come together no matter who you believe in, what God you believe in, what universe you believe in. We come together as humans for a human cause. Once again, I'm so thankful for the courageous souls that come together. We pray for the peace across the world. We pray for our part to make a difference. We pray for the men, women, and children who have passed and have not been able to make it through this conflict. Our church is in solidarity of continuing this protest, this informational panel, until the conflict is done. If that take lifetimes, that take lifetimes. We will come every Sunday for 1 to 2 hours, no matter what happens, no matter how long it takes, to be with the Palestinian people and to show them that we are with them, we stand with them. They are not ignored. Their cause is huge. This is a spiritual transformation across the world. What's going on with our neighbors can happen to us tomorrow. So this is our way of making our mark across the world, that we stand in solidarity, that you are not alone, the Palestinian people, and we do believe that you will have an end to this cause. We're going to move forward now, and this will be an informational meeting as well. But I guess the way they usually do it is they have a check-in. So we will start with a check-in. Who would like to begin?
I'll just acknowledge that we kind of tried to merge groups, which I think thanks to parking, neither of our groups are really in full capacity, but we do have coffee for Palestine every single Sunday at Back to the Grind right across the street. So when we got the invitation for today, it made great sense to join, at least on this occasion. So, and what your references, we normally say, yeah, I check in. That's a good way to call it, just to check in about maybe like Palestine related, like what are, what are you seeing right now? Well, thinking about how to also, like maybe 2 minutes-ish to 3 minutes-ish, roughly, loosely. But like, what's the news or updates? Where are you at right now with the genocide? And your part and our part as, observing it. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
So like a check-in, like maybe introduce myself and I can stand up. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Kitawi. I am Palestinian, first generation here. Both my parents were born in Palestine. My mom was actually born in Bethlehem, where Jesus was born. Beautiful place. I got to visit it. My father is from Bir Seba, which is kind of in between West Bank and Gaza. And so I personally have visited Palestine, and I witnessed everything with my own eyes, from the terror that the soldiers, put on the Palestinians. You were afraid to go anywhere. And this has been a very difficult time on myself, on my family. We're very worried for, our history too, to be wiped away. It's very scary to imagine that your people are going to be wiped away, that just everything about us is about to be wiped away. So you guys coming together to do this really means so much to us. As a Palestinian, really, thank you so much. It really does mean a lot.
This microphone is available too.
Anybody else like to check in?
Anybody else like and this will be a Palestine check.
Hi, I'm Tinka Friend, and my heart just sunk. I mean, it was torn apart this past week when I saw on the news about what had happened, where the tents caught on fire and, and everything, and children were playing and then burned to death. It just, my heart just cried.
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what check-in is or respectful protest is. I guess I do have a question now that I've heard what maybe you can educate me. Well, personally, I'm just horrified by what we're paying to allow Netanyahu to do the absolutely horrific thing that he's doing, and why Biden, even though he keeps saying that he believes in a two-state solution, then we have one of his underlings constantly saying, but we have to wait until both sides agree. Well, Netanyahu will never agree to a two-state solution, so it's absolute nonsense. Sorry. But I do have, this will sound foolish, but from someone looking in, I guess I'm a good liberal, but this might sound crazy. I remember back when there was some I think this is before Netanyahu's party took such hold, when when there was a discussion about two-state solution, and they said, but how do you go from Gaza to the West Bank? And since I've seen this tunnel, this miracle of going underwater and making this long tunnel, I always think of when somebody says, how can you have a corridor? Because I think Israel said, we're not going to have a land bridge. They'll take property from us. And so I know it sounds silly, but actually I'm quite serious in my probably naivete. Why can't we have an underground tunnel that will link the West Bank and Gaza together? Because those two strips, if they're going to be part of the Palestinian nation, then that would be a practical way to link the two together. Because I remember that was a very big sticking point. Was we have these two regions, and Israel said, "You're not going to take any land from us. We're not going to have a land bridge. How are we going to do it?" It seems like through technology, a lot of times solving sociological problems through technology is a hoax. But in this case, I feel like why not have that technology to make an effective tunnel that would link those two areas together. So then we can say to Israel, you will accept a two-state solution. We have a solution for this problem of linking these two areas together. And of course, obviously, if we turn off the money to Israel, then it will change. I think just like that. What I've heard is pretty much our money props up their military machine. Of course, Netanyahu, as long as we prop him up, he wants to present himself as first world, which of course he is not, because that country is too small to be first world. You know, we have the power to I think solve this problem into a two-state solution. If only Biden would do it. Anyway. I am curious about is the tunnel thing silly, or could that actually work?
Yeah. Is it okay to respond? Okay, I'll just move on. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, thank you for that. So I just want to take everybody back in time. So when you go back before 1916, before the Balfour Declaration, there was 75% Palestinian Muslims, there were 25% Palestinian Christians, and 5% Palestinian Jews, right? So that's how it was, and everybody lived so happily together. They would watch each other's kids, they would play together, they would have tea together. Then, of course, you know, things started changing, and I'm sure you're aware of the 1948 Nakba, which was the great catastrophe where so many Palestinians lost their home and their land. So it's been a process of land being taken from the Palestinians, right? And them being shoved into small areas. And the way they have to live is they can only, you know, grow up. They can't grow out. And so I was telling you guys that my dad is from Bir Seba, which Bir Seba is right in the middle of West Bank and Gaza. So how that works is because if you actually look on the map, it is considered the Israel side now. So my dad calls his family sellouts because they didn't fight for that area. They basically accepted, you know, their offer of, hey, we'll make you Israeli citizens and you can keep that land with your family. So that's right in the middle. So even with that tunnel, you're going to go right under all the Palestinians that are still living there. You know, it's almost, gosh, the two-state solution, it would be so ideal, you know, if we could just cut it in half, right? Be like, you take half and we take half. But of course, like you said, Netanyahu doesn't want to do that. There was a solution that was offered by Biden to him just in the past week, and he did not accept it. And so what are we supposed to do? Honestly, it's not about religion. It's not about Hamas, because they're also going into West Bank. In West Bank, there is no Hamas. So right now they're killing people in West Bank. They're taking the homes and doing all that, but there's no Hamas there. So this is an excuse, and we have to recognize that the Western media is not sharing the truth, and it is what it is, you know? But yeah, it's so much. It really is. But he wants the land. There's gas resources that can be found under Gaza. Please come back. No, go ahead. And also, I'm sure you guys have might have seen this if you're on social media. Just a couple weeks before October 7th, he was at a UN meeting and he held up a picture of the new Israel. And the new Israel no longer had Palestine on it. So this is obviously very planned out, right? And he already knew what he was doing. And he, in his mind, he's so crazy. He was thinking, look, I'm going to get everybody ready and set up to start accepting this for what it is. So he's not going to stop until all of Gaza is wiped out. And if you notice, they're flattening the land. Why are they flattening it? So they can build their Dubai resorts coming soon that they're already selling in Canada and different places. They're having real estate events. So this is, I mean, this is just insane. Please. Oh yeah, any more check-ins?
Would anybody else like to check in?
We are in discussion at the moment. Sure, if somebody else would like to check.
Looks like we can move on to discussion.
Feel free to check in and participate in the discussion.
Yeah, if you want to check in later, you can check in.
Yeah, we jumped right into it.
I'm under a lot of legitimate news. BBC World, one of the three networks, NewsHour, The Day, the German product. I do remember, maybe you can, because I've kind of forgotten, of course, news, they say it once and then it's gone. But I know there was a 50th anniversary coming up. And the Palestinians were very proud of something that happened or very angry, I think, about something that happened 50 years ago. And at that time, Netanyahu pulled his forces away from the barricade between Gaza and Israel and sent the forces over to the West Bank to harass the Palestinians in the West Bank. And so, like what you're saying, and you're saying that he gave a talk and held a picture a week or two. I didn't see that in my news. I'm not doubting that, but I've always felt that Netanyahu intentionally pulled people away from the border because that 50th anniversary was coming up, and he wanted this to happen.
Yeah.
He pulled back,
like-
and
yeah.
so there was nobody guarding that high wall, and it's predictably you have people on either side who are very militant and angry, and so, and you remember when Netanyahu talked, he was pretty much jubilant that in his talk right after October 7th, he said, I'm going to solve this not for a decade or 2 decades or 50 decades, but they're going to be talking about this for hundreds of years. I'm going to fix this. And I thought, it looks like it's pre-planned, and he's jubilant. He's so happy that it worked out. So, oh yeah, but getting back to this idea of Israel disappearing, and once again, it going back before the 1948 Nakba, I was one of those people, my dad made me watch the news. So I watched when Moshe Dayan and Golda Meir were on I forget it's one of the three network programs that's every Sunday. Anyway, I remember watching that show, and my dad, I said, well, what's with this, this creation of Israel? And Dad said, well, see for yourself, watch as they defend it. And Moshe Dayan, the guy with the patch, who was pretty snarly and mean, he said, when he told his story, it made everybody cry, actually, all of the people who were interviewing him. But the message was, besides his personal story, he said, you don't want me living next door to you. You don't want me marrying your sister. You can't stand me. Now, we would move anywhere in the world if you give a place, but nobody has offered us a place. So that's why we're coming to this area that we're going to call Israel. Anyway, as a good liberal, I think there are a lot of us that still feel that because of World War II and the Holocaust, that the world owes Jews a homeland. And whether that's justifiable or not, I don't really see, just as just as Jimmy Carter brought the Egyptian leader, thank you, brought Sadat together with, was it Begin? And Sadat, you could see he was like, oh no, Sadat looked relieved, like, and he was described as this lifelong warrior who finally basically said, I can either preside over this and watch it spin until I die, and it'll keep spinning because the West, US, will defend Israel, or else I can sign a peace treaty. And that was the start of the peace between Egypt and Israel. And so I guess I feel if Sadat felt that it was pointless to try to stop the bleeding heart liberals like I guess myself and my parents from defending Israel's right to exist, the Sadat was saying basically, I yield instead of people fighting for centuries over this. And so I guess when I hear this idea of we all got along very well before Israel was created, why can't we go back to that again? I just don't see it happening because it'd be people like myself who feel guilty over the slaughter in the gas chambers of World War II. We felt for the idea that Israel, the Jews aren't liked anywhere, but they do need a place that's their homeland where they're safe. And it's been put there, and it's been there for what, 50 years or however many decades it's been. To destroy it now would be, well, I guess just about unthinkable. But then along comes this Netanyahu, who is absolutely, crazed. And so people like me are going, like, huh? We've unleashed a monster. And of course, we put Biden in, thinking that he would be something, better than Trump. And in foreign policy, he's nuts. He always says, trans, I have your back. Well, I'm LGBTQ compliant. So I say, well, that's good. But then overseas, he's like Reagan, or, he's no different than the worst right-wing militant zealot. And but to put backing behind Netanyahu who is insane. Well, I'm glad to see that what the ICC has condemned him. So they're going to arrest Netanyahu if he goes to any of the states. Yeah. And of course, we are still backing this madman. So
Yeah, even apart from all the protests.
I guess what I'm saying when I keep hearing this argument, that this Palestinian argument that I hear every so often, that we're going to wipe away Israel or else everybody will magically get along together. I just don't see it happening. If Sadat said, I'm going to throw in the towel on this because the West isn't going to get over their
And I want to say that as a Palestinian, we've never said we just want to wipe it out. We never say that. We're not,
well,
we just want to live in peace. And since 1948, there is no peace.
Whenever I hear this kind of argument, it tends to turn me off because I think we'll always have an Israel that's primarily a Jewish state. Although I thought that before Netanyahu and his Likud, I thought that the Jews felt that they were a majority, so they didn't have to make it part of their, I think, the Constitution, where I think Likud said it's got to be in our Constitution or something like that, to say we are a Jewish state, which represents a level of cruelty.
1 second. So the introductions was like so that everyone can get a chance to kind of check in.
Absolutely.
Thank you for yours.
Absolutely. But I'm just saying when I keep hearing over and over again, I've come to these several times, and over again, it seems almost like a Palestinian faction saying, Nakba, Nakba, Nakba. And I've got to say, if
Wait, I'm sorry, did you say Palestinian fashion? I'm sorry, is that what you said?
faction,
Sorry, I didn't understand.
faction.
Okay. Okay.
I was raised liberal, please. I am just saying that when I hear this over and over again, I think it's futile unless the Nazis in this country win. And we never want that.
Yeah.
They would love to see Israel destroyed. Although I have heard, I mean, how much do I really know? I've heard that people like Nazis and people who are very ethnocentric are currently supportive of Israel because they say, look at this Netanyahu. We'd like to be like him.
Let everyone here have a chance to talk.
There are good solutions that people here are aware of.
Yeah, and you know, claim that you're Jewish, and then they will fly you out to Israel and you can become a citizen. You do not have to be any type of race. So that's why when you go to Israel, it's a variety of races. That's why Netanyahu is Polish. And one of his close ministers is Iraqi. And all they had to do is claim that they are Jewish. They can go in there, and a lot of times their flights are paid for. And as soon as they get there, they're able to steal a house from a Palestinian, and then they have to join the IDF or IOF. We call it the IOF now, and they have to join it for 2 years. I believe it's 2 years, right? And then, and this is where they really get brainwashed to hate Palestinians and Arabs. And this is why in their mind, they think it's okay to slaughter children. That's why they call all of them Hamas. No, literally, you watch videos. They do, they say it.
Also, I'm gonna do my introduction too that I didn't do yet, and then we'll continue with, if that's okay. Do I need the mic or I'm fine without the mic, but. Okay, and Adam, is that okay, or do you want to go ahead and mute with your, okay. So, I actually joined today because I wanted to share some of the news from particularly the last week or so. So, and also I want to invite Rabhea, Diana's loved one as well, but Rabhea is here and also fundraising for her extended family who is in Gaza. So maybe you want to talk maybe right after me, if I can pass the mic to you, if you don't mind, Rabhea? Yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay. And it doesn't have to be the mic for, I don't think it has to be like the microphone, but so I'll talk more about what so Monday, so what was it? Sunday was the tent massacre? Was it Sunday or Saturday? Sunday. So the interesting thing about what we're calling the tent massacre, first, people in other regions of Gaza are a little like maybe confused as to why we're making, well, there are massacres like this every day. So for whatever reason, this massacre was brutal enough to catch a lot of attention, which it should have, and ironically, the people who were in this UN sanctioned camp area had received notice 4 days prior to move specifically to that area, 4 days prior. And I'm going to talk about some of my loved ones that are not blood related, but my loved ones nonetheless, that were there in West Rafah. So the invasion started east and moving its way in. So by the end of 2 weeks, we start getting towards West Rafah. And so on Monday, we received voice notes from family that their house was surrounded by tanks. There was shrapnel flying at their house. They were huddled together in the living room. And the sound of the bombs was quite, actually, here, you guys should hear them. And then I have, yeah, you should definitely hear them.
Hold it to the mic, please.
I will.
Loud and Zoom.
Let me make sure I find the right one, and here it is right here. Oh, well, you'll hear, okay, I forget it's in Arabic you want to, but I'll give you the translation, but you'll hear the sound of the bombs around them, which is the point of what we're sharing here. And why am I? Oh, here it is, okay.
لا ظريف لازم تنزل في كل مكان مش فاهمين ولا شيء. لا أنتم إلا ربنا يسهل الليل على خير يعديها على خير. يا ستير يا رب يا ستير يا ستير يا ستير يا ستير كله حوالينا يعني وين؟ مش فاهمين ايش نعمل. صوت في كل مكان اللهم صل
So what he's saying is, there's shrapnel in the house, they're banging on the door, they're everywhere, it's coming from everywhere, we don't even know where it's coming from, and they have a little baby Mahmoud, they have, grandpa who's, sick, and anyway, so they were under siege for hours there until sunrise, when they were able to miraculously, someone scooped them up in a car. Someone was able to come to them, pick them up, and they had been reluctant to leave because they were in an abandoned kindergarten building. So they had already moved 6 times, but so the invasion came in Rafah, but they held out to the last minute. They're just like, they didn't want to leave. I mean, like bathing bathroom alone is like hepatitis is like everywhere right now. And so they finally obviously left. They had to escape. Their house was completely surrounded by tanks and gunfire and missiles. And so then they get scooped up that morning, Tuesday morning, and they go to a place called Mawasi. Mawasi is where, within about 2 hours of them arriving, was where the next tent massacre happened. So it was supposed to be a safe place, and it was another tent massacre. Simultaneous to that, this whole region of Rafah called Tel Al Sultan was under just this really intense siege, which, by the way, today's looking kind of similar again in East Rafah. But some of the journalists that I talked to were trapped there for 15 hours, but he couldn't leave. He was surrounded by gunfire, and he made it out. And then there was another journalist that I talked to on a weekly basis or so, and I check on them, you know, like, are you okay? Are you alive? And I see that he's not online. He's not online. He's not online. So by Wednesday, I'm messaging him. I have to translate to Arabic because I don't speak Arabic, but I'm messaging him, you know, are you okay? Are you okay? And he doesn't answer. Thursday, I finally start messaging other journalists because that's like 4 days of not hearing from him, and I'm worried. And then I find out that he has been shot in the chest by the IOF. So he's alive, and I don't have any actually further updates from him other than that he's awaiting surgery or had surgery. And so that's, you know, that's the reality in the South, waiting desperately for the borders to be open. There are people desperate to, you know, either evacuate or for aid to come in. That border being closed is catastrophic. And yeah, so I definitely wanted to share that story. And then Rahea, I have a voice note from this morning from Hanadi, who is the family that Rahea is also fundraising for. So do you want to kind of open up that story, and then I can share her voice note as well.
My name is Rubhiya, and I'm Palestinian, full-blooded Palestinian. I was raised there till age 17, and I came here. What's going on right now in Gaza is genocide, and everybody sees that. So I talked to my family. I have my niece's family there in Gaza, and they've been moved around 5 or 6 times. And she talked to me most of the time. The net is, the internet service is bad, so like I can hardly hear what she's saying. But it's very, very terrifying what goes on with them. Their tent, like 2 weeks ago, got bombed, and she went and moved with her mom, which is she was in an abandoned building, and then somebody gave them a tent, and they went back and lived in the tent. A few days ago, her mom told her daughter that the abandoned building is too hot. It's just, you know, too hot. She want to go there with her. The night she moved with her daughter and her son, that building got bombed, and a lot of people died that same day. But, you know, they were lucky they were saved. But from this war already, I have 35 members died already. Most of them children and moms and young people. And it's just scary. She tells me like every night she doesn't sleep. She just sits and comforts her kids because of the sound of the bombs shaking the ground, and there's screaming and crying. She said, all you hear around is the kids are screaming, and her kids are screaming and crying. So she comfort them all night, and they just can't wait till the morning come. They hate the nights. It seems like they bomb mostly at night more than the daytime. So she said, we hate nighttime. We can't wait till morning comes because we can't get to sleep. And she's just terrified, and there is no way out. I'm trying to help them. I open a GoFundMe for them, but I'm far away from reaching my goal. And every day she called me and she asked me, and I told her I do my best. And there is another family, a lady I met like 2 years ago. I didn't meet in person, on Facebook, and she's from Gaza. She calls me and she begs me. She tells me, I don't have food to feed my kids. And I asked her, I told her, we see that they said there is trucks of food comes in. And she said, even the trucks of food, if they come in, they sell them. And she said, we don't have any money. She said, whatever little food I have, I save it for my kids and I starve to see what's the next day I have to come. So everybody's hurting, everybody's scared and terrified. And, you know, Biden and Netanyahu, they keep doing any like promising. I was hopeful the other day when Biden said we're going to stop the war, but it's just nonsense. Doesn't.
And what I had this, I'll just add to you. So Hanadi says in this message, it's just written, but it says, the night is very scary. The sound of bombing doesn't stop. Quadcopter plane shoots on everything that moves at night. It makes scary sounds for dogs and children crying. It causes extreme fear for me and my children. So we find it very difficult to go to, also with the bathroom is very difficult. Oh, because you can't move in and out. Yeah, I think, and more details, but just out of her mouth, yeah.
Terrifying. It's terrifying. Like the adults, they don't sleep at night. Everybody trying to comfort their little ones. And a lot of them are injured. She have one of her kids got injured through this genocide. It's not a war because it's not equal. We can't call it a war. Yeah, and she's trying to send him to Egypt. She said there is some cuts in his arms. It's okay. And it's hard to go out to Egypt. Egyptian people, they made it a business. So they need approximately between $7,000 to $10,000 to evacuate every person. And only the rich people will be able to escape, I guess. So it's just, honestly.
Like they have to have money to get out, or they
Just-
have to have money to eat.
Yeah.
Because when the stuff does get dropped, or the food comes in there.
And I'm
I
texting
have-
him to go tell you right now for this.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, yep.
I have this if like.
He wants to go in
Oh, nice. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, it's really terrifying. I'm not sweet.
Yeah, and also Rebecca brought, I know we didn't get this permission, I'm sorry, but she baked an Arabic dessert that's as a fundraiser, so whatever,
Yeah.
earnings will go. to-
Yeah, toward
Yeah. Yes.
definitely, yes. Yeah. Should I say it now? or
What,
Anybody? Would any-
Just, why don't you say what it is? What it is exactly?
It's-
It is a native house.
It's a native Palestinian dessert called harissa.
Oh, you should show it.
Harissa.
It's so delicious.
I don't know what it means, but it's very tasty. Yeah, and it's still warm. I baked it this morning. So,
I could also add to the story, which is that I think with all the disempowerment of it's something that we have as young people in our hands to, get direct aid to.
and this is, yeah, that's the only way I can do. I gave the money, but that's so much money I can give out of my pocket.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I said, if I do these baked goods,
This is-
all the money goes to the,
How are you able to send money to them? How is that working?
One lady, she begged me for money, I sent it to her first, straight to Gaza, and she would go to the bank, and the bank, they told her, we don't have any funds. She waited for a whole week and she said, okay, throw the money into the community. I throw the money, she said, if there's somebody in the world.
Yeah.
A family or relative.
Yeah.
They connect with each other. And then this family, they have their son is a student in Egypt, he's a student doctor.
Yes.
And I already seen him, I was thinking the Bible, he takes the money, and he's supposed to gather the money so they can be able to escape, to get whatever they need,
To pay, yeah, to pay to cross the border.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
E- It's sad because Egypt is charging them to get, yes. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's very sad.
I can cut it out.
And then I've heard that there are like some ATMs, I think, that have had money and that's been long lines and for them to get money.
I have a yes.
Yes. When people talk, please come to the microphone. People would love to hear what you are saying. So.
That'll work. I just want to say something really quick because I get really agitated when I hear the Third Reich used as sort of a explanation or defense for the state of Israel. What happened in Germany in the 30s and 40s was horrific. And what happened in Germany was that people believed that to be German, you had to be a particular race, a particular ethnicity, and a particular way. And the idea that the answer to that is to create another one of those systems makes absolutely no sense to me. The answer to that kind of a system is to work for a world where we have countries where people have freedom, no matter their race, no matter their ethnicity, no matter their religion. And the idea that we need to create another one, to me, it's not surprising that anti-Semites or people, from the far right, white supremacists, whatever, would support Israel because Zionism was supported by Nazis before the end of the Third Reich. Because the people who were here in this country marching and saying Jews will not replace us, they can get that if we send all the Jews to the Middle East, right? If we send them all to Israel, then Jews will not replace us in this country. Zionism has very, fascist roots, and I think this was understood. This was understood by the people in power making these decisions, but it was definitely painted in a way that made a lot of American citizens believe they were doing sort of the right anti-fascist thing, the right anti-Nazi thing. And they weren't. We were just creating another fascist system. And I think I hear constantly this idea that saying from the river to the sea is anti-Semitic. When I chant for Palestinian freedom, the river to the sea, the chant we are saying is about freedom. It's about everybody being free from the river to the sea. When the right-wing party in Israel has that in their charter, what they're saying is we will have Jews from the river to the sea, right? We will have this one ethnic group and this one religion from the river to the sea. To me, that seems a whole lot more hateful than saying we'll have freedom from the river to the sea.
Exactly.
Correct. I would just like to add, historically, as a historian and biologist and so forth, one thing that we can say is that Zionism is in fact fascism. It is a ethno-racist fascism that has religious overtones. Because remember, Judaism is a religion. Like Christianity is a religion, like Islam is a religion, Judaism is a religion to which people have converted over the centuries. There has been an attempt to make it an ethnicity as well. It is not an ethnicity, it is a religion. It just so happens that certain families have been in it for a long time, so therefore, certain characteristics because of, genetics and everything carry on. But in fact, within Palestine, and Palestine has been called some derivative of the word Palestine for nearly 4,000 years, right? Okay, it goes way back there. It has always been a multi-ethnic region and a multi-religious region, all right? I have colleagues, we are working on ancient DNA from the Transjordan, and I have a colleague who has finished her PhD at Tel Aviv University, and she told me there is a professor there who is hiding and not publishing Natufian DNA from Palestine because it doesn't fit the narrative. He is apparently intimidated such that he will not publish the results that are directly from under his feet in Palestine. So, in other words, and of course, the best endorsement of Zionism, my favorite endorsement of Zionism, came from Adolf Eichmann. Okay, when he said, if I were Jewish, I would be a fanatical Zionist. And what was he? He was a fanatical Nazi. Okay, he saw the similarity. It was just, he was on trial there for his crimes in the Holocaust. He could not escape saying his admiration for the Zionist regime, even while they were trying him. He had admiration for what they were doing there. He said, I would be one with you if I were Jewish, he said. That's Adolf Eichmann. So.
We can't thank you enough at this church, the information that you come today and you bring us, especially things like how you talked about the map and how he put up the map of what he wants. These are things that the media and the society in America is not informing us about. They are actually trying to confuse us. They are actively trying to confuse us with misinformation. And people at the church, at our church, have noticed this, and this is why we've invited you, is because we want the specific, accurate information that only you guys can bring to us. With your experiences and your connections to this region, you help clarify for us and filter the truth that we need to hear, because unfortunately, our media and our society is giving us confusion. And our government is purposely confusing American citizens so that we cannot choose a side and we cannot support you. So the information you give us is vital, is so important, because we literally cannot get it from anywhere else. We need your perception. We need your experience and your connections that you have, how you're able to give us recordings and actual personal stories of what's going on. We are, we really are discouraged because we get disinformation and we get confusion, but that's what our government wants. They want us confused so we cannot support you. So I can't thank you enough for, please give us all the information you can. Give us clarity. Filter this for us, because your information is vital and is golden to us, so we can move forward in supporting you properly and speaking on your behalf with others properly with the correct information. We believe here at UU that persistence is key. Persistence will make you prevail. Continue in your efforts. Continue being persistent. That will save you. We believe that silence is the worst kind of violence. Those who are silent on this are committing worse atrocities than the violence that's happening. We also believe that what has already occurred in Palestine will not be able to be rebuilt by the people who are doing it. So the Israel who is hurting you guys, what they've done and taken apart, they're not going to be able to rebuild on their own. They're going to need help from Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and those countries will not help them. So whatever they've destroyed, they will not be able to rebuild. So that is a loss in itself. That is a loss in our eyes that they are already losing, because they're not going to be able to rebuild and the countries around them will not be able to help them. But thank you so much for your information. Please continue to enlighten us.
Either that or one of us needs to repeat what you say.
It's for the Zoom.
I'll just acknowledge that there's a variety of support for Palestine and Riverside. So a variety of networks of people, but we've been doing, recently, we've been doing banner drops, hanging up banners over the 91 freeway at 14th Street. And I think that, go ahead. Thank you. Oh, wait.
Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday and Fridays.
Yeah, so Wednesdays
are
and
welcome.
Fridays at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And also like, that's part of like it's like there's different levels of actions, you know, this is, I personally feel like this is like symbolic, and maybe like the word normalizing is used so often in the media with Israel, but this is like normalizing us, that for us, so that people see like this is genocide, this is real, and we're not okay with it. And if nothing else, it's I also feel like it's a bit spiritual to at least honor our martyrs, you know, by acknowledging them in that way. So yeah, welcome to people looking for resources there. Oh, I just wanted to also acknowledge that we did evacuate 29 beautiful human beings from genocide. So these are not people who wanted to leave their homes, but their home was bulldozed, like everyone right now, pretty much their home was destroyed. And so, you know, as a result of what Reb Heya is doing right now, efforts like this, they're not empty. They're not like, sometimes it feels so discouraging, but they're not for nothing, right? So like those dollar bills can like literally put food in their mouth, or, you know, help to evacuate whichever comes, you know, first. So, but we did, of the 29 people that we evacuated, the last group of them, because they were evacuated in sections in our, the last group of the family evacuated on a Sunday. That was exactly the last day of the Rafah border crossing being open. So that night they started bombing. That was actually the very, very early beginning of the invasion. So they like literally had shrapnel flying at them on their way out. And then the border closed within a few hours after that. So, you know, there's like great miracles that happen amidst the misery. And I hope that we can keep saving as many as we can amidst the other types of labor that we're doing as well.
And I want to point out Riverside for Palestine has really made a huge impact. So they raised over $100,000. That's how they were able to help evacuate the 29 people, as well as the banner drops. Richard is, you know, in charge of that. So he's there, and then a group of people come and help out. So everybody's welcome to come and join in. Also, I guess like every first Sunday, everybody's going to meet here. But if you want to meet the other Sundays at Back to the Grind, the group meets up. And so if you want to
What
get more
time is that?
involved, it's from 12 to 2. And so it's not just, you know, it's like emotional support, but as well as the opportunity to organize different events, demonstrations, the banner drops. We're hoping to add another banner drop. So a lot of great things. Yeah, to plan, to just, you know, because we want people to really know what's going on. We want them to question, because there's a lot of people that are just like, you know, I've heard this, it's not my country, not my problem, but no, it is your problem because your country's funding a genocide, right? So we want people to understand that you need to dig a little bit deeper. Don't let the news tell you what's going on. If something doesn't sound right, it's probably not, and it's time to do a little research. So us getting out there in the community really is opening more people's eyes, or just, you know, wearing the scarf. People tend to come up to you and ask questions like, oh, what's really going on over there, right? So it opens up a conversation for people to learn more. So that's what we want to do. We want people to understand what is really happening, not what the news is telling you.
Exactly. And also please go and bother our local our local congressional representative. All right. His office building is right there in the corner. I gave him a Palestinian flag. I left a message for him. Keep bombing him with, you know, I want to say love bombing him, but basically keep the pressure on him. Okay. And I want to show you one thing here from outer space. Here is Palestine right there. I want you to see why a two-state solution is not possible, or All right, can you see the artificial barriers by the lack of green within the two humps there in the political? You can see Gaza looking like a little desert there. Look how beautiful Palestine is, except all those areas in the West Bank are deprived of water. You can see apartheid from space. See right there, you can see apartheid, you can see genocide and ethnic cleansing, what Patrick Wolf called the elimination of the native from outer space. Right there going on. They're going to turn, they're turning Palestine right now with these settlements in the West Bank and all of that. They're turning it into like an urbanized mess, like I don't know, New Jersey or some other place. They are actually destroying a beautiful natural ecosystem which has its native peoples as part of that ecosystem. Now, we as biologists know, those of us who are in that area know that this land can be remediated and healed by allowing it to go back into the possession of the indigenous people so they can carry on their ways of keeping the land well that has gone on for thousands of years. Just like what happened in the native, in the San Bernardino Mountains here. These mountains, they look like wilderness to outsiders, but in fact, they were curated forests, permaculture forests. Palestine, as an indigenous place, also has a culture that can come back if there's equal rights for everybody and freedom from the river to the sea. Thank you. Next month again, and we'll get started earlier next month. And those who would like to yes, right there, yes. More than we. What is the name of the food again, please? Harissa. Okay.
Harissa.
Gets
Dessert. It's very good.
excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you.